Hey everyone, quick commercial as we get this episode started today. It's that time of year again for the annual Tanium user conference called Converge coming up this November 16th through the 18th. It is virtual again this year, and you can sign up today. And I want to encourage you to go ahead and sign up early because, especially if you want to get the labs, there is a charge for the labs pass. The event itself is free, but if you want to do the labs, and I know you do because you are Tanium admins, you want to sign up early because those labs will fill up. So go ahead and get signed up today. You can do that at bit.ly/Tanium Converge, capital T, capital C, Tanium Converge, bit.ly Tanium Converge. Sign up today, and we'll talk about this more on other shows. But the big thing about Converge is you get to meet the experts, people that I've had on this show and people that have joined your calls as a customer to help you. You'll get to meet some of those people and learn Tanium directly from them, hear what other customers are doing, and hear from Tanium leadership about what's coming next. It's an exciting time, and I hope you'll join us. Hello, and welcome back to the Go-Tanium Tech Talks. Notice I didn't say show. Early on when I started this series, it was a pilot. We didn't know what would happen. I call it the Go-Tanium Show. A few episodes in, we got this idea, we might do something more with Go-Tanium later. So we started calling it Go-Tanium Tech Talks to be a little more specific and satisfy the folks over in marketing. But today I have some exciting news. More Tanium shows. We're going to do more Tanium shows. And that's what we're doing here. Now, the last episode was a crossover with Oliver Cronk of Architect Tomorrow. I hope you had fun with the little alias parody that we did. No parody is today, but I'm going to introduce to you some new shows that we are launching under the Go-Tanium brand. So first up today, I'm going to talk to Doug. And Doug is with us from Go-Tanium Tech Stories. And he's going to be starting a podcast, which is live now. And I'll not steal his thunder. Doug, introduce yourself.
Hi, thanks, Ashley. Yeah, I'm Doug Thompson. I'm a storyteller. That's sort of the root of this. And I like to, and I'm a sales nerd, a career-long sales nerd in that I get to talk technology to business people and solve business problems. And in doing so, it's the stories about technology and the business problems and stuff that I find that connect with people. Because at the end of the day, technology is sort of useless if it doesn't solve problems. I mean, it's cool. I'm a nerd, so it's cool. I like playing with it. And sometimes it causes more problems than not. But I like to sort of bring that level of conversation to the broader audience. And podcast is a great way to do this. I have a face for radio. I did the sports, morning sports many decades ago, back with AM radio. You know what that thing is? It's the thing in the car that you turn to your Apple CarPlay or something. But I started that. It's a great way to sort of kill time. If we ever get to travel again, we can do that. But it's a great way to sort of consume these discussions and dialogues. There's no demos. There's nothing like that to go along. It's just honest conversation with thought leaders, people that think a little bit differently and why they made certain decisions, from a transformational standpoint, things like that. So really get in and have that discussion. There will be about 20 to 30 minutes long, so they're digestible. They should make most people's commutes, and simply want to tell the stories of how technology has actually improved people's lives and solved some problems. So that's about me.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, I noticed behind you, people listening to your podcast can't see it, but you have some triathlon things on the wall. Now, I know I would probably make it about 50 feet in a triathlon, but tell me about your triathlon experiences.
Yeah, I'm a two-time Ironman finisher, which some people just tell you I'm a glutton for punishment because you have 17 hours to finish an Ironman triathlon, which is 2.4 mile swim, 120 mile bike ride, or 112 mile bike ride. Whew, I made it longer. I think I took a wrong turn. And then a marathon. And I did this in when I was about a decade younger, but it was just simply something that I wanted to prove. I grew up, I had allergies and asthma, and the cure at that time was sit your butt on the bench and you don't exercise. And I didn't get to do a lot of that stuff. So I wanted to prove that I could go out and do these things, something that very few people have been able to do. So yeah, I've done probably done about 100 triathlons of various distances in my career. Now I have bad knees to show for it, and a couple posters behind here, and things I can't fit in anymore. There's pictures of me in a Speedo, which
no, I'm glad it's a podcast for that sake. Yeah. But yeah, well, congratulations on those accomplishments. That is truly remarkable. And we're going to come back to a little bit more on the podcast. But next, we've got these other two guys hanging out with us today, Mosh and Cam. They are starting a Twitch stream, and I'll let them cover the details of that with you. So, you guys, why don't you go introduce yourself, Mosh, first?
Hey, I'm Mosh here. Everyone internally just calls me Mosh, lovingly calls me Mosh. And I can tell Doug's love for stories. He's got a good story of his own, amazing storyteller. I'm in Tanium because I love the fact that we're just a value-driven company. And that sets the road, paves the road for things like this. Like, what company do you get to sit and you're just like, hey, I want to do a Twitch stream and I want to be creative, more creative in my job, and then go and do it, right? So our value is one of our values that I really appreciate. We're unstoppable. And and that's I think what drove us to create this show. And Cameron, this is where I'll cue you in here, man. We share a lot of values together, and one of them happens to be curiosity. We like to just explore things we don't know about. That's the premise of the show, right?
Yeah. Hey, everyone. That I do share that with Mosh, that curiosity. Yeah, so I'm the other counterpart of a show that we're doing, a Twitch stream called Endpoint Explorers. Cameron McLaws. I've been at Tanium for 3 years, and Mosh and I actually started around the same time at Tanium, so we have a similar tenure. I once heard a quote, and this is actually from Ashley, that I really believe in, that people come to work at Tanium to do their best work, right? And I love that I get to wake up every day and just get to put my ideas in place and actually implement them. We started a Twitch stream to really just bring a deeper level of conversation to our customers, and that's a part of my personality. When I want to learn something, I approach things with kind of like an axiomatic method. If anyone's familiar with that, I have a background in math in undergrad. So most of my courses would start with some basic fundamentals, and they would go very deep, very fast. And that's usually how I approach things in life. Right now, I've been, going into a different type of sport called jujitsu. It's something new in my life. And they take that exact approach that I take in life. They start with some fundamentals and they expand on those. And it's been really fun to learn and practice. So you'll probably see me in a year from now trying something else new that's probably less punishing, but that's constantly what I'm trying, is new things and just exploring more things out there. So,
I think Mosh is safe because he's on the other side of the camera, so you can't reach him there. Yeah, you can't try things on Mosh. Yeah, with jiu-jitsu. But hey, let's do this. Let's go around the horn and let's talk about what's your current role at Tanium. So I think most folks know that I started as a TAM, but yeah, I don't know that I mentioned on the show that I changed roles. Back around April, May of 2021 this year, I changed into a new technology strategy role, which involves evangelism as part of that role. And I started knocking on these guys' doors on Slack and saying, hey, I've got some ideas. I'd like to expand the brand. And they were all about it. So tell me, Doug, what is your current role at Tanium? What do you do?
I'm a technical solutions engineer. Again, sort of sales nerd, pre-sale side of the house. So I get to talk to customers all the time and find out how I can make their life better and safer.
And all right. And Mosh?
I'm also a TAM, but TAM could mean, a technical account manager could mean several different things in this company. Right now, my focus is on mentoring the new folks that come in. So a lot of the new engineers that come in, just show them the ropes of Tanium. Be like, this is our culture. This is our technology. They go through that course, and it's just an enriching experience for me because I get to learn a lot from them as well. And most of my before this role, really, most of my background is in working within military intelligence, defense agencies, just public sector. Before this role, I was a comply subject matter expert, comply one of our solutions. I also worked with a lot of customers, worked within accounts as well. So I had to, worked within the trenches with our customers there.
Yeah, and I watched that Twitch stream this week. If so, those of you who are just now finding out that we have a Twitch stream, you can go find the recordings on YouTube on our Tanium YouTube channel. And Mosh just went deep on all the alphabet soup with compliance. It was really good. Really helped me understand and put the pieces together, because sometimes your head just spins, and you need a tour guide like Mosh to help with that. Cameron, what's your current role and background?
Yeah, so I'm a solutions engineer as well, like some of us on the phone, but I originally started as a TAM, so a technical account manager at Tanium. I really like being a part of those first time conversations with customers when they first see Tanium and they, that aha moment, I guess you could say. I really like to be a part of those and just, help folks understand how we actually can help them with current challenges that they have. People who haven't looked at Tanium before, maybe it's the first time seeing it. That's a lot of what I'm doing these days. And a little bit of my background is mostly in operations, so patching, vulnerability remediation, and I've been a little bit into data risk and privacy lately as well.
I'll tell you, this is fun. I've never had 3 guests on the show all at once. We've got plenty to talk about here with these shows. Now, Doug, your podcast, I've read this and heard you say it multiple times, and I'd like you to explain it for our audience. What does it mean when you say there's no tech-splaining? Help us understand the posture of your podcast.
Yeah, that's actually a term I phrased. You've heard the term mansplaining before. My wife tells me that all the time. And I sort of took that in a lot of times when I get in and talk to customers. I had a customer tell me this. They didn't use that word, but they said what they really appreciated me is the way that I explain things in a language and stuff that they understand. I use the words that they use. I understood what their challenges were, and I didn't try to get down into the ones and zeros and things like that. It would be easy for somebody, for Cam or somebody, they don't do this. They're really good speakers about not doing it, but sometimes you get so wrapped up in the technology, you get so excited and nerd out on the ones and zeros as a thing that you forget you're trying to solve a business problem. So that's what I call tech-splaining, is those people that are really, really smart that get way down into the weeds when you don't need to. So this is a no tech-splaining free zone. If I use a word with more than 3 syllables, then you can call me out on it.
Well, and that's a good point to make, because what we've done is strategically think about for a minute, how do you learn, right? What mode do you learn in? I'm auditory mostly. So I like, my wife and I would have a conversation last night. We're both trying to read the same book, and I went to Audible. I went straight to Audible. I was like, okay, I'm going to do this at 1.5 speed. I want to get through it right so I can listen to Doug's stuff. But then sometimes you want to see hands-on on the console. So what we've done is these 3 shows, the Tech Stories podcast is no console, right? It's a podcast. So it's conversations around the business problems that Tanium solves. Then you got my show, the Tech Talks, which you've been watching already. We get into the console a little bit, talk about the business problem a little bit. So kind of a middle level of tech depth, but that brings us up to the Endpoint Explorers, which is one of the coolest names for a show I've ever heard. Thanks to Cam and Mosh. Guys, you are exactly what Doug was talking about that he's avoiding, going hands-on deep. Tell us a little bit about the mode of your show.
Cameron, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So I'll talk a little bit about like how this project came about. So at Tanium, we used to have an internal kind of like a podcast where Mosh and I saw, a problem with folks and TAMs having struggle with keeping up with the latest and greatest. Tanium has a lot of releases, a lot of content, and our platform does has a lot of functionality in it. And a lot of our TAMs would specialize in one function. Like, for example, I was helping out with integrity monitoring, and I didn't have so much a purview into maybe some of our threat detection capabilities, right, from threat response. So we thought of a concept of let's have this idea where we have this podcast where we get to release this information and summarize the events of the week for all of Tanium to consume. Now, that was an internal thing only, and we did it for about a year. It was a great project. We had a lot of people listening. So Ashley had started to create the show called Go-Tanium, and we saw it posted, and we started to think, well, why couldn't we release something like this, but for public consumption, for folks to join in on? And then we started to think about, well, what's the best platform to actually host something like that? And we chose Twitch as the platform. And I'm going to hand it over to Mosh to talk more about what the show is all about, right?
Yeah, and Twitch, I think because Twitch has this huge user base, and started off with gaming, but it seems like it's expanding into so many other spaces. And we're like, this is how we can reach our audience. Here's how we can bring in more people to learn with us, because that's another point of the show. We're not going to have all the answers, right? That's why we're exploring. So, we wanted to do a live format because we wanted to have that chat engagement, ask us questions. And then, so if they ask a really good question that we don't have the answer to, we can Google it real quick. We can show them on the screen. So really Twitch was where we ended up. There are other stuff we've considered, just ended up at this one. And it's been going pretty smooth so far. I think so.
Yeah, and the fun part of that backstory is at the same time, I'm looking at all these different social platforms thinking, boy, wouldn't it be cool if we could reach that junior admin at a company who's just been handed Tanium and they go home and they're gaming and Twitch is their native language. Why don't we put something in that where people can discover Tanium as well? And so when I approached Cam Mosh, they're like, yeah, we're already headed that way. So it was kind of nice. We're coming at it. And we found out, oh, look, we've been thinking the same thing. This is great. So it's just really fun to see this take shape. So we've talked about the level of technical depth, some of the content, and all these shows are going to be interview style and having new releases and things like that. So now let's talk about when will these shows drop. So for my cadence, everybody's already been watching Tech Talks. It's every 2 weeks on Wednesday is where I try to keep that. So Doug, how often do you plan to drop new podcast episodes?
Sure. The first official episode, I had a preview episode out for a bit. The first official episode goes out yesterday. So that's episode 1. So it'll be twice a month. We're looking to do that, like the second and fourth Tuesday of the month. And that's going to be the schedule. Now, if we have some special thing come up or something, there's nothing to prevent we can't do something live, but that's the schedule right now.
Okay. And for the Endpoint Explorers, how about you? What's your schedule?
We're going to be streaming every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, every other Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So it is bi-weekly. We want to, because we're diving so deep into some of these technologies, we like to take that week to just research, prepare, bring our guests on. And the guests we're going to be bringing on, they're going to be speaking about these topics at a deep level as well. So it's going to be every other Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time.
Fantastic. And then later they can find those episodes out on YouTube.
Absolutely.
Or most of those episodes will be on YouTube anyway. Little inside joke there. Yeah. So we'll get that out so you guys can find it. And so what we've got here is a strategy where you've got multiple shows to choose from, different levels of depth, different delivery mechanisms. And I'll also throw in a good word here. We've got a couple other shows running around Tanium. These shows are all oriented towards the admins. And Doug's probably a little bit more than, admins, middle managers, decision makers as well. But we have 2 other shows. We have Maggie Miller that does a show called To the Point, which is more of a manager executive level conversations about current hot topics in the industry and how Tanium can help there. And then we also have Oliver Cronk that you met on the last episode of Go-Tanium Tech Talks, and he does the architecture conversations, which are really not specific to Tanium, relative, but not specific. So you can find him out there as well. And to help you sort through all these things, here at the end of the show, I'm going to give you a bit.ly link that'll take you to a launch page that we literally just got stood up for you. So you can find all these shows, you can follow them, you can get a link to each one of them and begin to follow, favorite, like, star, whatever it is on whatever platform that needs to keep you in the loop there. And you can also follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter and connect with us, interact with us. And that's the point of these shows, is to to show you what Tanium has to make your life easier in the world of IT, because we all have enough. And like I've said before, we all really want to do a good job, and we'd rather not have to be up half the night to do that. We'd like to be able to get it done sooner than later. So as we kind of wrap things up here today, I'll just kind of go around the horn for any final remarks, things that you want to do to plug your show. And we'll start with Doug. Anything else you'd like to mention before we wrap?
I consumed some of Mosh's and Cam's internal training, because I do need to get a little bit of that depth of knowledge in there as well. So I highly recommend what they do. They explained it the way that I could even understand it. But yeah, I'm just looking for thought leaders. I touched some of the people that Maggie and Oliver talked to. We go a little bit deeper, exploring some other things on that. So I download it at your most popular podcast link.
All right. And the Endpoint guys, any closing remarks there?
You can find us at twitch.tv/Go-Tanium. Endpoint Explorers is part of Go-Tanium, so we made that simple. Twitch.tv/Go-Tanium. Every other Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Just come say hi in chat. Just ask a few questions. Come with big questions. We love it.
Yeah, I think that's the most fun, is when we have folks coming in and asking us questions or being a part of the conversation. That's the whole point of Twitch, is to engage with the chat, right? So come ask questions and be curious with us. Two upcoming episodes I'll plug. One of them is going to be on custom content in Tanium. So a lot of folks don't know this, but you can create your own content in Tanium to be able to get information back from all your devices, or to be able to control them. So we're going to have an episode on that, diving really deep into that specific concept. And then also one on zero trust. That's going to be a separate episode that's upcoming. So two very exciting conversations that I think are top of mind for a lot of folks right now.
Fantastic. And I'm going to slide this in. We didn't plan to say this, but I'm going to go ahead and throw this in here anyway. If you're a customer, partner, even a prospect, if you would like to be a guest on any one of these shows, all it takes is a Zoom connection or some kind of other connection, right? It's all internet these days, working from home. If you would like to be, if you'd like to be on these shows, email us at go@tanium.com. And we would love to have you on, hear your stories of how you've used Tanium in your company. Now, in order for you to do that, you probably have to ask the folks, good folks in legal, if you're allowed to do that, and what way, what you're allowed to say, whatever. And we totally want to respect that. But if you would like to be a guest on one of these shows and tell us your Tanium story, we would love to hear it and share it with others. So as we wrap up today, thank you guys for joining the show. And thank you I know it takes a lot of work to make a show. And I know you guys work really hard at serving customers of Tanium. And this is another thing in your week. So I want to thank you sincerely for making these shows available to our audience. I know how much it is helpful for them. I know we've received lots of feedback already on the Go-Tanium Tech Talks. And even the first episode we streamed with the Endpoint Explorers, we got feedback right away that it was helpful. So thank you for the effort that you're putting into these shows. Now, as we wrap up, I've got a little cheat sheet for you here to kind of put it all together. So here we go, new shows. You've got Go-Tanium Tech Stories with Doug, and that's going to be on your favorite podcast app. And again, the link is at the bottom here. Bit.ly Go-Tanium show will get you to Doug's show. You've got this show here that you've been watching for months now with me, your host, Ashley, on YouTube. And then we got the Endpoint Explorers. Again, what a cool name, over on Twitch, streaming live on Tuesdays, and YouTube then later with Cam and Mosh. You can get hot links to all these shows, and you can stalk or follow the hosts on Twitter and Twitch and LinkedIn. So you got all the links there that you need to stay connected at bit.ly Go-Tanium show. And as always, you can join us in the community forum as well, where we would love to continue that conversation. And if you're not the community forum type, you can simply just email us over at go@tanium.com. So thanks again to our special guest for joining us today. We are so excited to offer you this additional level of Tanium content to help you do your job and be successful in the daily battle of IT. With Tanium, that single platform that'll help you do all those things from one agent and give you that lightweight infrastructure, the speed, the scale, the simplicity, the visibility control, all those fun things we like to say about Tanium. And we're just excited to talk about it, talk with you, talk and show you what's coming soon and what you can enjoy in the console. So until next time, go Tanium.